Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, CSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight is the finale of this brief three-game homestand. The Kansas City Royals are going for a sweep of the Houston Astros. Good evening, everybody. The roof is open. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Layla Rahimi will join us in just a few minutes. The Astros continue to play close games but struggle looking for the big hit. Ash?
They've been having a tough time getting any hits at times. And obviously the team batting average well below the 200 mark would indicate that. The runs right at the bottom, runs per game right at the bottom of the league. So there's a lot of improvement to be made. Hopefully with one young bat in the lineup, they might make some improvement there.
Well, certainly no room for improvement left by Scott Feldman in his first three starts as an Astro.
Man, has he been good. 2-0 in the one game that he didn't pick up a win, a no decision. He was absolutely great in that game at Texas. But you can see he's only allowed a run in one of the games, that in a win against the Angels. And he has shut out the Yankees and the Texas Rangers. He's been absolutely brilliant. He's leading the league in batting average against. He is spotting balls all over the place. You can see the Yankees in that first start struggling against him. But Scott Feldman is pitching like an ace. He's going out there throwing strikes with all of his pitches. It doesn't matter what the score in the ball game is. He's going to pitch the same way. Scott Feldman right now is as good as anybody is seeing in this American League. And this was his start against the Texas Rangers. You see the curveball. You see the intensity. Scott Feldman pitching well.
And putting on a show in a pitching clinic. Well, coming up next, Layla Rahimi has more on George Springer after his Major League debut last night. In just a moment.
You ready for Game 3 between the Royals and the Astros here from Minute Maid Park. It is the third game of this series, and Game 2 featured the Major League debut for the much ballyhooed rookie George Springer, the number 3 prospect according to MLB.com, no longer a prospect because he was able to play and get his first hit out of the way in his first game. Not bad for a guy who many are pinning hopes on here in the organization. He was able to do it in the third inning in his second at-bat off off of Jeremy Guthrie, an infield single where he was able to show off his speed and beat the throw to get to first base. He also showed discipline at the plate as well. He did go 1 for 5, but it's 5 important at-bats because they are in his major league debut. Bo Porter happy to see that George Springer did not have to have a watch. He got his first hit out of the way, of course, and was also able to settle down. Here's what he had to say about his big day.
It's good. It's always good to get the first one out of the way. You don't really chalk it up, hitting a 6-foot dribbler, but I'll take it, and, you can relax and breathe and just, go have some fun.
What did go through your mind during your first at-bat?
Wow. I'm here, just try to hit it on the barrel and don't miss.
He has described himself as a see-ball, hit-ball kind of batter. He is batting second in the lineup tonight. Hopefully we get to see more of that hit-ball mentality. Stay with us because we have first pitch coming up from Minute Maid Park of Game 3 with this series. 2 Astros hit long balls in Game 2. Can they swing away in Game 3? Bill Brown and Alan Ashby have the call next.
Presented by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box and try the new Jack's Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. It's Jack's hottest sandwich yet. Back to Minute Maid Park. It is cloudy outside and the temperature is very nice for a baseball game. The finale of this particular homestand of only 3. George Springer coming out for his second major league start. The Astros will be headed to Oakland after this game to begin a road trip, a 2-city trip taking them to Oakland and Seattle. They'd love to get this one with Kansas City going for a sweep. Houston now with 5 wins and 10 losses. And as Scott Feldman takes the mound, here's the lineup he'll be facing for Ned Yost's Kansas City Royals, who are 6-7. Nori Aoki, the right fielder, leads it off. It's Omar Infante at second base. Eric Hosmer bats third, playing first. The catcher, and moved up to the cleanup spot tonight, Salvador Perez. A difficult move for Ned Yost because that means Billy Butler drops to the number 6 spot. He doesn't have an extra base hit yet. He's DHing the number 5 hole occupied by left fielder Alex Gordon. Mike Moustakas in third base, batting 7th. The number 8 hitter shortstop Alcides Escobar. And Gerard Dyson's in center field for the injured Lorenzo Cain.
On the mound for the Astros, right-hander Scott Feldman, the opening day starter, ace of the club right now, and he's pitching like an ace. We've talked about it. 2-0. 0.44 is the ERA. Just 7 hits allowed in over 20 innings of work. You can see the opposition numbers against some right-handers hitting all of 0.34. His high in his career, 17 wins, that with the Texas Rangers in 2009. As he began that season, he was in the pen. But when he became a starter, he won his first 5 decisions, and later in the year won 7 consecutive decisions. So he can get on some very good runs.
Well, out of the gate, he's on a nice run so far, and the Astros really feel confident when he takes the mound here at Minute Maid Park. The Astros, after a win tonight in a ballpark in which they have a 3-6 record at home. And now it's time for Aoki to head for the batter's box for Kansas City. The Royals, like the Astros, haven't hit their stride offensively. They are, with 42 runs, tied for last in runs scored, but they've managed to win the first 2 games of this series. 4-2 Tuesday night, 6-4 in 11 innings last night. Aoki at 244 has no homers. He's driven in a couple. He came off the bench in last night's game after starting the first game of the series. Looks at that one, and it's ball 1. C.B. Buckner is working the plate tonight. It's a bouncer and fair ball past the diving mark, cross up the right field line. Springer plays the carom, juggles the ball, and gets away, and now Aoki will have a chance to get to third base. Now, Springer got caught in that area of the field, and he hasn't played many games here, just at the end of spring training, in which it's difficult for a right fielder to try to corral that ball and try to keep it in front of him.
I think when watching what took place here as this ball comes off that lower facing, you can understand anybody having a tough time. The ball curls around for a moment, then pops up right up and over the glove of George Springer. And that is I don't know if it's a lesson learned. You learn, if anything, that these are really tough corners.
Ruled a double for Aoki and an error on Springer. His first error as a major leaguer. Now Omar Infante is the batter. Infante at 279 with a homer has 5 runs batted in. He's 2 for 9 in this series with a homer in the opener. The infielders play back. VR, the shortstop, is in front of the grass a couple of steps. There's strike 1 to Infante. There's the way they line up. Infante was the leadoff man last night. He had a hit and drove in a run in the 11th inning when Kansas City got 2. Infante, even though often he pulls the ball, and that's the way shortstop VR is lined up, can go the other way. We saw that last night. It's the curveball foul. No balls, 2 strikes. The Royals are headed home for a brief homestand with Minnesota after this one tonight. Kansas City, with 6 wins, 7 losses, is only 1 game out of first in the tightly bunched AL Central. 5th year as the Royals manager for Ned Yost. He managed the Brewers after being part of the '82 champion Brewers as a player. And he was a longtime coach of the Atlanta Braves. Bobby Cox mentored a lot of coaches with the Braves.
He is not the Bobby Cox type of personality, to be sure. Intense, quiet.
Infante lays off Feldman's pitch, and it's 1-2. Feldman, 4-2 lifetime against Kansas City, has a 3.12 ERA against the Royals in 15 games, 8 as a starter. And of the 8 starts, he's had 5 quality starts against the Royals in his career. Infante lashes a line drive, caught by Dominguez. That ball was almost past him when he caught it. Hard hit out, number 1.
Simply reaction play from Matt Dominguez, and he'll make those, no doubt about it. But that's a tough out if you're a Kansas City fan.
Good base running by Aoki at third. Heading back to the bag on the liner. Eric Hosmer is the batter. Now the infield comes in with 1 out. Hosmer at 286 has no homers and 3 runs batted in. He had 2 hits and a walk in last night's game. So he has that respectable batting average and the slash line, the on base percentage, and slugging. Slugging is a little bit low for Hosmer. He's a good RBI man. Fouls that one back for strike 1. Yeah, Ned Yost guided this Kansas City club to the best record in the American League after the All-Star break last year. Feldman has not allowed a hit with a runner in scoring position this season. 0 for 13.
Doesn't hurt to make line drives to infielders, your friend.
Pitches a ball, and it's 2-1 with Salvador Perez on deck. Perez a right-handed batter, so depending on how Feldman feels about Hosmer, he could get by with a walk here. Upstairs, and it's foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You can see right away that Feldman is not the overpowering type. But the results have been overpowering to this point by mastering the corners, the edges, at the knees, all different speeds.
He's pitching Hosmer upstairs in this confrontation.
That's a belief of Brent Strom, the pitching coach.
And now down. 2-2.
Breaking balls tend to come out of that same slot that high fastballs do. So he feels that if you show that enough, then you really make the breaking balls better.
Well, that's an excellent point. The Astros were quite a first inning club early in the season. Lately, they've struggled to score early and prevent their opponents from getting the lead. Little dribbler goes up the first base line, and the run scores as the tag is made. So it's 1-0 Kansas City. Hosmer retired, and he gets his 4th run batted in.
Defensively for the Astros tonight as the Royals jump on top. Around the outfield, Alex Presley gets a start in left. Dexter Fowler in center, and George Springer once again in right field. Around the infield, Matt Dominguez and Jonathan Villar with the 0 errors on his slate. On the left side, on the right, it's Jose Altuve and Mark Krause, and Jason Castro behind the dish.
1 run home, and now Salvador Perez promoted to the cleanup spot for this game tonight. Checks in at 304. He has no homers. He's driven in 4. There's strike 1 of the outstanding young Kansas City catcher. He came up with a big 2-out 2-run single last night to tie it in the 7th inning. The shift on him is a curveball, bounces outside. It's 1-1. Salvador Perez last year hit .377 with runners in scoring position. Fly ball up the left field line, heads for the seats, and doesn't make it. It's a foul ball, though. He got jammed on that one. It's 1-2. Perez last year became the Royals' first Gold Glove catcher since Bob Boone. But to have his talent at his age, he has really become a big part of the hopes for the future for the Kansas City Royals and their fans.
Yeah, when you pick up a Gold Glove at the age of 23 at any position, you're really showing quite a bit.
Curveball strikes him out. It's 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error. Kansas City 1, Houston coming up. Starts with center fielder Dexter Fowler. Continues with right fielder George Springer. It's Jason Castro catching. Jose Altuve at second base. Mark Krause at first. The DH Chris Carter. Matt Dominguez at third. Alex Presley in left field. Jonathan Villar the shortstop.
On the mound for the Royals, right-hander, a veteran, James Shields. He's 32 years of age, and he has 100 career wins. So he knows how to do it. He's called Big Game James Shields. 0-2 on the season, though, despite a very fine ERA at 2.37.
Run support has been an issue for these Kansas City pitchers. Fowler taking that first pitch. There is strike one at 89 for Big Game James. Outstanding changeup for Shields. Fowler at 205 with 1 homer, has 2 runs batted in, 2 for his last 28 now. That comes in on the inside slot for strike 2 call.
If you ever want to see a guy that sells the changeup with full arm speed and body delivery with it, he'll even oversell that pitch over the fastball.
He gets a strikeout. Shields 1-1 lifetime against Houston. But all 3 of his career starts against the Astros have been quality starts. Last time out, he lost 7-1 to Minnesota. Gave up 7 runs, but only 1 was earned. George Springer got a little dribbler for his first major league hit last night, going 1 for 5 with a walk. That's off the plate. That's a little tap, and he's going to beat this out for his second major league infield hit.
Give him a week, and he's going to be leading the league in infield hits. I'll tell you what, the way he swings the bat, that huge swing he provides, I don't know how anybody in the infield could ever anticipate or be able to make a play on one of these. Then he tops it with the speed. He's got more production out of the least total footage of hits than anybody in the league.
Springer was caught stealing last night on a pickoff move in the 5th inning. He's a big base stealer in the minor leagues. He's aboard for Jason Castro. Castro at 209 with 3 homers, has 6 runs batted in. Castro hit his 3rd homer last night into the Landry's Crawford boxes. He was on base 4 times. He had a single, a walk. He was hit by a pitch. That one spins him around, almost got him on the right elbow.
You getting the feeling that the word is out, pitch hard in on Jason Castro?
Yeah. He's leading the league in being hit by pitches, and he's had a number of close calls like that last one as well. Hits the ball well to left center on the pitch away. There's that quick move by Shields over to first base.
Of course, there's a good reason guys get pitched hard in. They show that they can drive the ball the other way. Castro with both home runs going the other way this year, and he showed a lot of that last year.
Well, since the beginning of last season, he leads all major league catchers in slugging percentage at .518 and on base percentage at .363. Takes that one away, and he's ahead in the count, 2-0. Shields was a real mainstay in that Tampa Bay rotation for years, starting with the 06 season. He was drafted by the Rays in the 16th round in 2000. Kansas City getting him in a trade prior to last year, along with Wade Davis, for a package of 4 players, including Will Myers. Pop up. Mike Moustakas underneath. 2 down.
Defensively for the Kansas City Royals, and they are good in this category. Around the outfield, Alex Gordon, Gold Glove winner in left field. Jared Dyson now in center field, runs like the wind. Norichika Aoki will be in right field. Around the infield on the left side, Mike Moustakas and Alcides Escobar on the right side. Omar Infante and Eric Hosmer behind the plate. Salvador Perez.
Jose Altuve leads the Astros in batting average, .276. Another throw to first, drives Springer back. The Astros as a team are hitting .189. They are at the bottom of the American League in on base average, .264. They have the fewest hits in the league, 93, averaging 2.9 runs per game. And the worm is about to turn if you look at typical numbers down through the years for major league hitters. There's ball 1. Altuve's leading the Astros with 16 hits, and His 6 runs batted in is tied for the club high. Shields has had 7 straight years in double figures in wins. Spots the fastball, but it's away, and Altuve has had good strike zone judgment this year. He feels that he has a better handle on that than he has in the past. He's laying off some of those pitches like that last one. And another high one makes it 3-0 to Jose.
Altuve was a big guy with more power, and he has some power, but I wouldn't have such a problem with him being such a free swinger. But at his size, I think it would really serve him and the club well if he could just lay off pitches well out of the strike zone.
That's called a strike. Now, wasn't that the same location as one of the earlier pitches in this sequence?
Isn't that a funny thing? You can watch that, and sometimes there are coin flip calls for umpires, and if you see the coin flip one side on one call, a lot of times it'll come right back the other side the next time.
So is that the automatic 3-0 strike call?
Sometimes it truly is. There are some outlandish pitches on 3-0 that get called strikes.
And ground ball, and that's on through past Escobar. And here's Springer racing to third. He's really going to help the Astros the way he runs the bases. First and third, 2 outs on the Altuve sharp single. Well, he waited. He got a very favorable count, 3-1, and that pitch from Shields caught a lot of the plate.
Just barrels it up, puts it on the ground back up the middle. That's a great way to pick up some hits. But watch George Springer. I think a lot of people overlook this aspect of the game. Look at this young man fly. He's not going to get held minus an extra 90 feet many times with that kind of aggressive style and speed.
Does he remind you at all of Mike Trout running the bases?
You know, that's interesting. He might have the very same kind of speed. Trout is such a powerful runner, and I saw a lot of power in that stride. That's a good call.
Mark Krause hit a 2-run homer last night, as did Castro. For the Astros, 4 runs. That's a strike to Krause. 172, 1 homer, 2 runs batted in. So they lost 6-4 in 11. Scored all 4 of their runs on homers. And the Astros have scored 16 of their last 21 runs on long balls.
No, that's a great comparison, bringing up Mike Trout. He did not start the year last year with the Angels. Came up late April and had such a great year. And quickly has become regarded by so many as maybe the best player in the game. And obviously a guy loaded with tools. I doubt that the Angels had any idea he was going to do those kinds of things. And when you're looking at a George Springer with his toolbox absolutely stuffed full, who knows what he could do.
Going to be fun to watch. Krause 1-2 now. Shields has a devastating changeup. .77 career ERA for James. He led the American League in innings with 228 last year. Back in 2011, he had 33 starts. He led the league with 11 complete games of the 33 starts and had 4 complete game shutouts. He worked 249 innings that year. Seven straight years over 200 innings. Altuve takes off. There's a grounder to first. Hosmer has it to end the Astros first with no runs, a couple of hits, and 2 men left. 1-0 KC.
time to log on to CSNHouston.com and decide the player of the game. Your vote counts. Winner will be revealed during Astros postgame live. Follow the action on the diamond like never before with enhanced Bloomberg stats and more. Astros in-game live on CSNHouston.com. Log in now and vote. And for more on CSN Houston's in-game live, I'm going to take it over to Howard Chen. Hey, Howard.
Hey, Layla. Well, you were talking about the Bloomberg stats. Well, those stats are really, really enhanced because if you really check it out on the website at CSNHouston.com, you can check out a player, which part of the plate he likes the ball at, the averages those pitches get, first pitches, second pitches. All the numbers are on there at CSNHouston.com in-game live. So just go to that website and vote for your player of the game. You choose who gets revealed as the player of the game on Astros post-game live. Layla?
Thanks very much, Howard. Now we send it back upstairs to Bill and Ash. Hey, guys.
Hey, good to have you guys with us on this very brief homestand. Over from the basketball wars with the Rockets. There is strike one for Alex Gordon. 250, 1 homer, 9 runs batted in for Gordon. He made the final catch in that game last night with 2 men on, getting Altuve's line drive in left field. And this one goes right through the shift, right off the end of the bat. He found a hole between third and short, but they were on the right side of the infield, and that's hit number 2 for the Royals.
We've seen a couple here in this series that have shot right through that vacated, what would normally be the second base spot. And you kind of give and take at times.
He's aboard for Billy Butler. Butler 1 for 8 with an RBI in this series, but it's not the usual Billy Butler Royals fans have been seeing. It's a 149 version of Billy Butler with no homers, 5 runs batted in, and no extra base hits for Butler. He did single in the 10th last night. That snapped an 0 for 19. And the skipper Ned Yost dropped him to the number 6 spot in the order for this game. That's a strike to Butler.
See, I don't think you make a move like that as a manager to take pressure off a guy. I think you make it to try to help the club. I think for the time being, when you're not swinging it well, you're not helping the club, so you move somebody else in that spot.
Butler had batted cleanup the first 2 games of this series. 1-1, and Butler has been hitting a lot of ground balls to the left side of the infield. So maybe this will work for Ned Yost, move him out of that pressure-packed cleanup spot down to the number 6 position. Sometimes a player will relax some when that happens.
I would contend sometimes they might press some.
They might. Runner goes, and there's a smash through the left side past a diving VR into left center field. Gordon gets to third on the Butler single, and it's first and third, nobody out.
For Billy Butler, it was a relaxed pressure situation.
Well, he hit it hard, unlike Gordon's ball.
This just to the left of VR, who's been making all the plays. He has been stellar to this point.
Well, Butler got a good result. VR tried to stop it, but now it's Mike Moustakas batting. Moustakas, another slow Kansas City starter, did hit a homer last night to give the Royals the lead in the 11th inning. His first of the year. He's hit 119. He has 2 runs batted in, 1 for 6 in this series. He went deep off Jerome Williams in the 11th last night. And Feldman drops in a curve. There's strike 1 to Moustakas. This Kansas City club with 43 runs scored has been outscored by its opponents, who have scored 52, but is only 1 game under 500 thanks to outstanding pitching. You know, of the 3 phases in baseball, defensive play, they've been really subpar compared to the club they had last year. In hitting, they've been subpar, but in pitching, they've been able to overcome those deficiencies by having a 3.18 ERA, 3rd best in the American League. Moustakas got married over the winter, and guess who was in the wedding? His good buddy from Chatsworth High School in Southern California, Matt Dominguez.
Can't break up those high school friendships.
Check that out.
Oh, man. You know those are a couple of big leaguers.
Fly ball, VR out for it. VR can't get it. That'll score run number 2. A looping single for Moustakas. His 3rd run batted in, and he's coming to life in this series. It's like the Moose just applied the antlers after that RBI single.
Kansas City Royals have to be a bit concerned about Moustakas and troubles he had last year and the very difficult time he's had early on this year. But they're a club that came in with 1 home run. They've added 3 here in the series. Mike Moustakas picking up some hits and driving in runs.
Alcides Escobar is the batter. He's 1 for 12 lifetime against Feldman. 3 straight singles here. Butler's was hit hard, the other 2 not. Escobar at 250 has driven in 3. Dominguez in close, as is Kraus. The Astros looking for a bunt with Gerard Dyson, the number 9 hitter, on deck. Not bunting. Chance for a big inning here. And he's swinging away. It would be a little odd if the number 8 hitter bunted the number 9 guy who isn't normally in the lineup on deck. Dyson, wouldn't it? Nobody out.
I think in the American League that becomes a rather large challenge. In the National League it would be non-existent unless of course Jordan Lyles was coming to the plate.
Yeah. How about Mike Leake the other night? Big night at the plate.
Some pitchers swinging the bats, and so as soon as you say that, Escobar turns to bunt.
Well, a lot of times the manager on the road would just play for a big inning. But maybe the fact that the Royals have struggled to score runs has Ned Yost thinking, let's just get 2 guys in a scoring position. There's 1 out. And you got the number 9 and 1 hitters coming up. 2 shots at driving in those runners. This is rolled to VR. He gets it to Altuve. Altuve on to Kraus. Should have bunted. 2 outs and Butler to third.
What a Monday morning quarterback you are. Yeah, that was pretty. Jonathan VR continues to make the plays. Routine, yes, but you've got to make those routine plays, and a nice turn by Altuve.
It really was. Flashed across the bag and got out of the way of the runner coming in. Now it's Dyson with a man on third and 2 down. That's the 12th double play turn by the Astros. First double play behind Feldman this season. And some 15 opportunities he's had. But he has not needed that. And ball 1 to Dyson. Dyson came off the bench last night. And he's hitting 200 this season. He's used quite a bit as a pinch runner. And he scored a run last night after stealing a base. The center fielder Lorenzo Cain has been placed on the disabled list. Dyson ran for him last night. He has a groin strain, and that's something that he has had in the past, so the Royals are going to be careful with Cain, and that gives Dyson the start tonight. And Dyson scored on that ground ball. Infante hit the ground ball to a drawn in Marwin Gonzalez. Well, on the stolen base, Dyson showed off his speed, and also on that ground ball he scored. He just ran right past Castro. 4 hits allowed, the most in a start for Feldman. Batting average against Feldman for his first 3 starts was 106, lowest in the American League. And in fact, the lowest in the majors. And his ERA 0.44 when this game started was the best in the majors. But now he's given up 1 earned run in this inning. The run in the first was unearned because of the error by Springer. Dyson, as he takes that one in the dirt, now has a 2-2 count. And because of that best record in the AL after the All-Star break last year for Ned Yost's Royals, some people were picking them to win the AL Central. Well, even though they're 6-7, nobody's done that much in the AL Central this year. Coming into play today, Detroit was 6-5 and Chicago 8-7 atop the division. Little chop. Feldman coming over. Here's the toss from Krause, and he got him. The Royals add a run on 3 hits. They leave a man, and it's 2-0 Kansas City in the second.
Hashtag Astros fan photo for an upcoming chance to have it shown in a game telecast. It is the Astros fan photo. It is brought to you by AT&T. Guys, an interesting note, you mentioned Matt Dominguez and Mike Moustakas and their friendship. I asked Matt Dominguez last year how close they were, and he's like, yeah, we're pretty close. He asked me to be a groomsman at his wedding. I would say that's a little bit more than just pretty close. They've been friends since Little League, and Dominguez said that Moustakas is definitely the more outspoken of the two and the more talkative guy. We all know Dominguez is a man of few words. And he says, you know, our first 2 years in high school.
Carter with a grounded at third. Moustakas. 1 out. What happened the first 2 years in high school?
He said our first 2 years in high school, we knew we were pretty good, but we didn't realize that we had such serious big league aspirations and big league potential. But once the offers started coming in, we knew there was a chance that we were both going to be playing in the big leagues. And he said the first time they played each other was actually in 2011 when Moustakas was in the Royals farm system. He was an Omaha Storm Chaser, and Dominguez was in the Miami system playing as a New Orleans Zephyr. Needless to say, Moustakas comes over and heckles Dominguez almost every BP in this series, but it's been fun to watch.
Now Dominguez takes ball 1. Matt's on a 6-game hitting streak. Isn't that amazing, though? The two guys who played on the left side of that Chatsworth High School team, both first-round picks. 196 with 2 homers for Matt. And Shields catches the outside edge for a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
I think Teller of Penn and Teller would be a little more verbose than Matt Dominguez.
That's a wicked changeup, it looked like, Ash. 1 and 2.
He's got a great one. And again, he sells it so well with the arm speed and just the body flying through.
He chased that one and struck out. That's number 2 for Shields.
Anybody who wants to learn to throw a good changeup should talk to a guy like this. And this would be a great guy to talk to. But I think what he would tell you, number 1, is get a grip that you can control and then throw it as hard as you can. Watch the effort right here. As hard as you can. Let the grip take the speed off.
Exactly what you saw. Alex Presley trying to pull out of a tailspin is 0 for his last 18. He lashes one high, but it'll go foul.
This little guy's got some occasional big pop.
Yes, he does. He's hit 2 homers in the early going. He's driven in 3, but his batting average 128.
See him smelling the bat. That's that scent that will come, and a lot of guys kind of get into sniffing that.
The scent of a foul ball. That sounds like a movie title, Ash.
Ooh, that could be.
Starring Al Pacino. 1 ball and 1 strike. Our Kevin Costner, he's the one making all the sports movies now,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. We got to get Marla Hooch in there somehow.
Yeah. Okay. We can put that together.
Pete Vukovich, get ready for the phone call.
Have your people call Vuk's people.
Yeah, that may not result in an absolute yes right away, but stick with it.
Well, Vuk gave them a no, didn't he, on his movie?
Yeah. But they realized what a talent they had in the works there, and they persisted. Thank goodness that movie would have never made it.
Presley grounds. And that's gobbled up by Infante. And woo, he was hustling. Safe! Here's the call. They started to run off the field. And Hosmer may have known it, but was trying to buy a call. He didn't get one from Tripp Gibson. Good hustle by Presley. Ned Yost is coming out. He may want this one reviewed, but we'll see.
Here's the standard now, and we're going to watch this all year long, and as long as replay goes as it's currently constituted, manager's going to come out slowly, take his time till he finds out what replays show their own club. And there's that ball in the glove there?
Hard to tell.
That's a tough one to see.
Is your standard whether he closes the glove around the baseball or not as far as possession?
That's a safe call, and I don't think there's either way they can change it. I don't know. I guess it's the instant the ball hits the backside of the glove. I guess that's where I would be. I don't know, Brownie. Where would you be on that?
I would say he has to close the glove around it. So you and I see it a little differently, but we need to consult an expert. So we'll ask Phil Boudreau what he thinks.
So you don't want to have a slow glove closer playing at first base, then, I guess you say.
No, not at all. Phil says safe on this call.
Yeah, it's not going to get overturned based on what I saw there. So yeah, I don't know. Okay. Ooh.
Well, see, you can see the white, and the glove hasn't closed on it yet. So I'm saying safe, but we'll see what the guys in New York say.
Yeah. You know what? That could fall in that category of getting overturned. I think it's going to wind up being too close to change.
Right. Yeah, it would have to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn it.
It's a thriller novel coming out soon.
It's interesting, though, that Ned Yost chose the situation here with 2 outs on a call at first base with no one else on. So if he loses, this is his only challenge. Oh, they got it overturned.
Wow.
And it's out. So you were right, Ash.
I don't like being right like that, Brownie.
No. Kansas City 2, Houston nothing after 2.
Mark, save money and get great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS right now to reserve your seats.
Well, a lot of people thought that last night kind of felt like a second beginning to the season. So the folks who have not lined up for those season tickets have the opportunity to do that and see George Springer's entire season with the Astros.
A couple of hits already for George, infield variety, but that's fine. They count those too, and very impressive on the bases.
Aoki led off the game with a double. Feldman had not allowed a hit to a leadoff man in an inning. They were 0 for 19 against him, and now 2 innings and 2 leadoff hits today. But that's one of those stats that's hard to prolong. He did it for 3 starts. 1 ball, 1 strike for Scott Feldman. Only Bob Knepper in his first 3 starts as an Astro had a lower ERA than Feldman in his first 3 starts as an Astro.
Wow.
1981 for Knepp. Slash. Whoa. Domingo right there to field it and throw him out.
That was intriguing. Ball hit very sharply. Aoki just almost shut it down when this ball was caught. Kind of went into an easy job.
Sure did. Hit it hard the other way. Infante pulled his line drive to Dominguez in the first inning with Aoki at third base. Omar was hit in the face by a pitch about a week ago. Missed a couple of games. There's strike 1 to him.
Now, was he wearing this helmet when he was hit?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask. We can ask between innings. We'll ask Rex the Wonder Dog. No balls and 2 strikes. Rex Hudler, that is, doing TV for Kansas City next door.
It sounds to my ears like I have an assignment coming up.
He's a beauty, isn't he?
You better be energized. I don't think you want to go into that conversation without feeling good about life.
Yeah. Ground ball third. Dominguez 2 down. A reminder now, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Beautiful night here in downtown Houston. The Astros will be flying out to Oakland, where the pitching matchups do not sound very easy for the Houston hitters in that 3-game series starting tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Jared Cozart and Sonny Gray. Gray is 2-0 with a 0.95 ERA. Saturday afternoon, Brett Oberholzer and Scott Kazmir. His ERA is 1.40. Now Hosmer hits it in the seats. Foul territory. Hosmer with the ground out got an RBI in the first inning. And Sunday it's Brad Peacock moving into the rotation, taking Lucas Harrell's spot, and Jesse Chavez will be the Oakland starter. 6 ground ball outs for Feldman.
Oakland A's 2.57 is the team ERA. They just keep doing it year after year.
Hosmer has been swinging at those high pitches tonight. It's 0-2.
If you're thinking about it, top 3 in the American League teams with ERA. Oakland, followed by Seattle, and this Kansas City club.
Even though the A's lost a couple of starting pitchers, they have not been deterred. He's now really expanding his zone upstairs, but he fouled it.
Well, when can you last say the Oakland A's didn't lose some pitching in the offseason? I think Charlie Finley might have been around, and he'd have sold the guys anyway.
He tried to sell Vida Blue one year to Cincinnati, and the commissioner nixed that deal. He tried to sell Raleigh Fingers. That's a roller, and the first baseman Krause tosses to Feldman. 3 ground ball outs due up for the Astros, who trail 2-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. VR, Fowler, and Springer. First inning. He had a 1-2-3 second. Now it's Jonathan Villar to lead it off. In the home third inning, Villar trying to snap an 0-for-13. Boy, we've seen several Astros hitters, Ash, go 0-for-15, 0-for-18. It's just a team-wide downturn in offense, a 189 team batting average. And it's bound to turn if you go by batting average on balls in play.
You know, and I'll add to that, Brownie. You'll see even good teams have, I don't know, a week, 10 days during the course of a season somewhere where everybody will get cold. It's crushing when it starts at the beginning of the year like this, and you don't know with the Astros whether the guys are going to come out of it.
Villar with a tap up the middle, and Escobar makes the play. 1 out.
With the speed of Villar going down the line, that's a challenging and tough play. When he chops a ball like this, my anticipation is he's going to come up with a hit. But at shortstop, a guy that is pretty darn talented, Alcides Escobar, he can really throw on top of everything. Look at that. You think the guys are not busting their tails?
Dexter Fowler struck out first time up. High drive to right field by Fowler. Aoki back on the track. 2 outs.
Inside the Game is brought to you by Comcast Business. George Springer is the guy we're talking about tonight. This is from last night, and you can see the strike zone. The X's are the swings he took. So he had it pretty well centered up. Took a couple of swings on pitches out of the zone, but I believe those came with 2 strikes on breaking balls, and he was trying to protect a little bit. But generally speaking, he swung at strikes. A very good sign, and that's the reputation that even with all the strikeouts, he tends to lay off pitches out of the strike zone.
Started the bat there. It's a strike.
That was actually a pitch that you'd like to see George get the big swing on.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. He's known as a good fastball hitter in the minor leagues, a pull hitter. But now he's up against the top fastballs in the world. And the changeup sends him down on strikes. We'll get to that next time up. Third strikeout for Shields after 3, 2-0 Royals.
We have all your sports news covered. Check out Sportsnet Central 7 days a week at 6, 10, and midnight only on Comcast Sportsnet. I talked to pitching coach Dave Strom about Scott Feldman and what he's able to do as a veteran and the leadership he brings this team. And he says he has a book on every hitter. He said he matches up his hitters, he stays with his plan, and he understands their tendencies. He's also been a huge mentor to this young pitching staff. Coach Strom said his value is added beyond his means. Nice to see him come in and perform the way he has, especially in his first 3 starts, guys.
Sure is. And Brent Strom doing a nice job as he returns to the Astros. There's strike 1 to Salvador Perez. Hard-working pitching coach.
Brent and I were actually parts of the Cleveland Indians when I first came to the big leagues, and he was a fine competitor then.
Perez 0 for 1 in this game. He gets the curve, and it's a 1-ball 2-strike count for Feldman. Feldman's 4-0 in his career at Minute Maid Park with a 3.44 ERA. He reached for the breaking ball, grounded to VR, who zips the throw for out number 1. VR, as Ash mentioned earlier, has played errorless baseball through 56 total chances this season coming into this game tonight.
Really nice to see, because last year, with all the good things he was able to do, the defensive side was inconsistent. And in fact, at times it was consistently poor. And 16 errors in, I believe, just 55 starts or so would tell you that story.
Alex Gordon steps up. Gordon was the third baseman until Moustakas arrived on the scene, and he moved to left field. That's a little looper, and that's in for a hit for Gordon. He's 2 for 2 in this game. Neither ball hit hard, but Gordon is improving his batting average tonight, and he's aboard for Billy Butler.
Talking about that defensive side at shortstop last year, and Marwin Gonzalez got the starts early in the season. VR really kind of took over, but the fielding percentage was not good. You can see the league average at .974 at shortstop. For the 2 guys the Astros employed, the numbers were well below that figure.
Billy Butler singled on the ground past a diving VR into left center field in the 2nd inning. Butler takes, and there's ball 1. Another reason that Ned Yost might have moved Butler down from 4th to 6th in the order is that he has a 185 career average against Feldman coming into this game. Rangers beat Seattle today in Texas 8-6. Strike makes it 1-1. Well, the Rangers now have improved to 9-7, while Seattle is 7-8. Shin-Soo Choo hit his first home run as a Ranger. Robinson Cano, number 1 as a Mariner, and Corey Hart, number 4.
Did he have his sunglasses on?
Not sure. Does that help him play better?
I don't know. He wears the sunglasses at night, allegedly.
Okay. 2-1. Maybe there's some sort of infrared filter in there, Ash.
You remember that song from, I don't know, the 80s or mid-80s? Corey Hart.
Oh. No.
See, I'm schooling you right now. And,
yeah.
And that's just not right.
Well, it happens every night. So just keep it up.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Well, I'm going to school you, pal.
Okay.
Do you know what George Springer's walk-up song is?
Well, you showed me the name of it, the title yesterday, and it's a song that is not on my my playlist.
No?
No.
That is shocking.
So school me right now.
Well, I can't do it right now because it's written down somewhere and I can't find it. 3 balls and a strike.
Paperwork, a beautiful thing.
Runner goes, and no throw. That's ball 4. Butler coaxing the walk. Runners at first and second, 1 out for Moustakas.
Jason Castro stopping this throw in mid-stroke, very much like Tiger Woods stopping when somebody takes a photo in the middle of his backswing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did this.
Well, that's pretty amazing. And now Feldman. This is a different feel to this ball game than any Scott Feldman has had. Gave up an unearned first inning run. Gave up 3 hits and a run in the second. Now 2 base runners in the fourth after a 1-2-3 third. And Moustakas, who drove in run number 2 with a single to center field, comes up. All right, here it is, Ash. The walk-up song for George Springer, Show the World.
Yeah. Again, not on my playlist.
No.
How about yours?
No.
Is that Little Richard?
You ask these questions knowing that you're not going to get an answer, don't you?
Oh, I think I knew the answer there.
Yeah. You know the answer before you ask the question. 1 ball, 1 strike to Moustakas.
I think I heard myself getting buzzed there. It's kind of a comfy feeling.
Well, you can run these by Blummer over the weekend in Oakland. He'll be up to speed.
He will, yeah. There's a playlist that you can probably find the songs on.
Pulled foul. 1-2.
Julia might have those.
Oh yeah,
same lists.
She'd know all about it. Dodgers 2, Giants 1 today. Ryu the winner. He's 3-1 now. He beat Madison Bumgarner. Kenley Jansen got save number 5. Both those clubs are 10-6. Still more intrigue about Puig. Roller up the first base line. Feldman over. He will tag the batter. For out number 2, Moustakas, 1 unassisted. Dale Swaim, the third base coach, alongside Gordon at third, with Butler moving into second.
What's Yasiel doing these days?
Well, there's apparently an ESPN the magazine story about how he fled Cuba. A lot of intrigue to that, and some crime syndicate inclinations involved, and maybe, you know, some bounty type stuff. It's a lot of intrigue, and evidently some people are saying that he's in some danger.
Some folks driving on the same road might be in danger.
Well, that's for sure. Escobar's the batter. He bounced into a double play. There's ball 1. Did he hire that guy who was in Driving Miss Daisy now to get him to the ballpark?
I don't know if he did. The guy's lost his watch. Nobody wears a watch anymore, but
no,
I guess you use your cell phone.
Yeah. Can you imagine that in L.A. trying to get to the ballpark, driving around like that?
I hope he doesn't have to ride with Miss Daisy, because she's just not going to be in a hurry at all.
That's in for a strike on a curve, 1-1. And Scott Feldman, of course, departed the club. He pitched 2 days after the death of his father, Marshall, who had been battling cancer and died at age 70 when he pitched that gem of a game at Texas. 7 shutout innings last time out, and then he departed after that for funeral services on the West Coast, and then returned a couple of days ago.
He's awfully good in that game, and get the chance to see some of the strikeouts. He got the high fastball called. He got the knees called. He had the curveball bending, and yeah, he was intense. I wonder if there was even more intensity going there after what he had been through with his father's funeral and all.
Well, it's usually a very emotional time for anybody in that circumstance, certainly.
You got top stepped right there.
2 balls and a strike, and you know, it can be a sanctuary though for a player when grieving in a situation like that.
I think that's exactly right.
Be able to walk into that clubhouse and shut it all out for a few hours.
Get out on the mound and you have your focus. I'm sure thoughts will creep in, but it's probably comforting at times.
Hit toward right center field. And that's in for extra bases. It goes to the warning track, scoring 2. A double for Escobar. And now Kansas City goes up 4-0. Escobar with his 3rd double of the season. And his RBI total climbs to 5.
He gets that curveball that's been so effective and just simply drives it out into right center field, even with the speed of Fowler and Springer. And they're going to track down a lot of balls. This one untrackable.
There's 4 runs on 6 hits for the Royals. Not sure what that ritual's all about. Must be an inside joke on the bench. Dyson, the batter, he grounded out. Bunting this one, and it's foul for strike 1. The Twins shut out Toronto today in Minnesota at Target Field, 7-0. Kyle Gibson, the winner. He's 3-0 with a 0.93 ERA. He beat R.A. Dickey, who's 1-3 with a 6.26.
Blue Jays need to be very concerned about R.A. Dickey at the top of their rotation. The knuckleballer has not had his way since signing a big deal to go up there.
Fly ball, and the center fielder Fowler is over in left center for this one. To end the Royals' 4th, they pick up 2 more runs on 2 hits and leave a man. They're up 4-0. Almost the same spot, his first of the year.
Left-handed bats have a great opportunity to take advantage of this ballpark, and those 2 guys did on one given night.
Now Castro comes up here leading off the home 4th inning. James Shields with a 4-0 lead, facing Castro for the 2nd time. Get that pop up his first time up. Shields came inside on him, trying to prevent him from leaning out over the plate and doing what he did last night on that home run swing. Altuve and Krause to follow here in the Astros 4th. That's in for strike 1. John Maley talking with George Springer now.
Well, that looks pretty technical.
What do you think that was all about?
I imagine about maybe the way the fastball tails from James Shields and what you're looking at. The way, I think it was the first pitch when Springer started the bat, held it back. That fastball kind of ran from the heart of the plate on in. Maybe a little chat about that.
Yeah, because he can start it inside a left-handed hitter and hit the corner. That one's ripped to first. Good play by Hosmer. 1 out.
Thing is, I don't know, what kind of conversation you have about the changeup. My conversation about the changeup that struck Springer out is get a pitch prior to a couple of strikes before you have to see that.
Yes. Springer watching as Jose Altuve bats. He worked the count to 3-1 and then smacked a single to left center field in the first inning. Happy birthday wishes to our friend Sally Hemus. You want to hazard a guess on his age?
Goodness. I don't want to over guess, but I'm going to say 88.
If the math is correct, 91. Ball 1.
You had a plus or minus 3 on that, right? So I got it.
Yeah, you got it. And you have won a free trip to Oakland, California tonight after the game.
Follow up through Seattle.
Yeah.
Very kind of you.
A roller out to Shields. 2 down. Now, are the toilets working in the clubhouses in Oakland these days? Or did they get that fixed?
That was last year. They had some serious issues. I think water had somehow, were they toilet issues? I know there was a serious water problem going on.
Sewage.
Yeah.
Well, it's happened again this year. Sorry to say.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess who will not be down in the clubhouse?
Okay. Jeff Blum?
That could happen too.
Mark Krause grounded out with 2 men on to get Shields through the first inning. There's ball 1.
I didn't think the Oakland Raiders would put up with those sorts of problems.
They wouldn't. Shields missing that one, and it goes to 2 balls, no strikes. This is the second time in his career he has not won any of his first 3 starts of a season, but this is his best ERA, 2.37 for those first 3 games. So it's just a lack of run support and fielding support, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. And Shields, one of the consistent pitchers in the American League. He was 13-9 with a 3.15 last year. And just another reason that many people like this Kansas City club to be in the thick of things in the AL Central all year long. Check out the Tigers hitting statistics. They're not hitting.
That's surprising.
Yeah. Final bag. So it's not only these 2 clubs. There's some company around Major League Baseball for them.
Of course, the Tigers lost Prince Fielder, but he's been in a scuffle early on this year. The Tigers, most all of the last couple of years, at or near the top in terms of batting average and runs and all those sorts of things.
They did win today at home over Cleveland 7-5 to improve their offensive stats a little bit. That's strike 3 to Krause, and that's strikeout number 4 for Shields through 4 innings as he has retired 10 in a row. It's 4-0 Royals.
Flex Plan is still available. The Flex Plan puts you in charge. Looking for certain days of the week, all the giveaways, your favorite rivalries, or maybe a little of each? You can choose. To purchase your 14-game ticket plan, call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Take a look at Fernando Rodney last year. Tampa Bay and Oakland in Oakland.
I heard we had some bathroom video, and I was a little concerned there.
All right. I'm not sure what that was about, but he evidently made it out of there safely.
Our teammate has survived the bathroom problems.
Okay. Nori Aoki ready to get it started in the 5th inning. He opened the game with a double and scored. In the 3rd inning, he hit a hot shot to Dominguez, rounding out. That's ball 1. In that Detroit win over Cleveland in Detroit today, Justin Verlander won it to go 2-1. Beat Danny Salazar, and Joe Nathan got save number 2. Ian Kinsler hit his 2nd homer. In for a strike. That makes it 1-1.
Saw a headline where Kinsler had a big game today.
See, he was 2 for 5 and drove in 4. Hit a 3-run homer off Salazar. Texas Rangers could use a guy like that at second base. Just kidding. 1-2.
Yeah, they could use a slugging first baseman as well.
Yeah.
Not sure if either one of those is going to work out.
Pass Feldman. Altuve hurries and throws it away. Ball stays in play. Altuve continues that errorless streak. If the ball had gone out of play, it would have been an error, but it's simply a base hit for Aoki, who stays at first base.
Well, he runs well. I thought Altuve did everything right on this play, other than the throw, which was a bit offline, but that's really moving it. When you drag that bunt as a left-hand hitter, you have a chance to get out of the box quickly, obviously. But Altuve, he saw the runner and he realized he had to be as quick as possible.
He's handled more than 230 chances without an error. Omar Infante is 0 for 2. He's pulled the ball to Dominguez both times. There's a strike to Infante, who shortens up on the bat. And you were doing some checking about this batting helmet, and Rex the Wonder Dog told you that he just started wearing this after he got hit in the face a few days ago, right?
Looked at me like I was from another planet when I said, was he wearing this helmet when he got hit in the face the other day? No, this is brand new.
Okay. 1-1.
So apparently they have some very fine craftsmen traveling with the club, throwing things together.
Oh, yeah. If you were from another planet, which one would it be?
I'd go with Pluto, but it's not a planet anymore, so I think that would mess things up. How about you? Where are you going to go?
Mars.
Yeah. You got a nice, safe, short jaunt back to Mother Earth.
And there's that famous book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's verified, though, to this point.
Oh, okay. Kepler. That Pluto's now Kepler? No. 1 and 2.
What are you getting some information over there?
We get all kinds of information. Most of it we don't really thoroughly understand, but we pass it along to you.
It's part of the. Is that the Kepler ring of rocks out there?
It's the Ring of Fire. Johnny Cash sang about it.
I think that's got to feel bad to be a planet that's been banished from your solar system.
Runner takes off. Strike call. The throw to Altuve. Safe. Stolen base. Aoki, his 2nd of the year. Infante was caught looking. Castro got the call before he zipped that throw down. 1 out.
And a perfect throw it was. Castro could not have done any more. Look at him come firing out and put it right on the money Well, those eyes tell you about the focus on the play. Look where this throw winds up. As an infielder, you take that throw, take it as far back toward the bag as possible. That ball is faster than you can be with the grab and the reach.
Question for you on receiving the throw, the pitch, before throwing to second, so you can get the call, so you don't come up out of that crouch and block the umpire's view of the pitch and cost your pitcher a call. Hosmer, the batter, fouls it away. So that can happen. We've seen it happen any number of times, Ash, with the catcher being a little over anxious to come up and make that throw.
You know what I think most catchers would tell you? Even though they would all say they want to do everything they can to help their pitcher, when the runner takes off, you're trying to come firing out. You do want to stay low as much as possible because you still have to handle that pitch, hopefully in the strike zone. And a lot of times you get the dirt high pitch, and that can really challenge you if you stand up. But kind of becomes #1 assignment to get the runner if possible.
1-1. Kepler 62e is a super Earth exoplanet discovered in orbit around the star Kepler 62. The second outermost of 5 such planets discovered by NASA's Kepler spacecraft.
You're amazing. All from your head, too.
Well, we got that behind us.
You're a planet one day, and then you're not even traded. You're just banished from your kingdom.
Well, if you're a famous athlete, don't they always ask you if you were a tree, what kind of a tree would you be?
Well, I was never asked that question, but then again, I was released in the parking lot.
I remember that. Roll through the left side and pass a diving VR. Runner had to hold. He'll go to third on the single by Hosmer. And it's first and third with 1 out.
Well, you have your pluses and negative moments with the shift, and it just seems that through a couple of homestands we've had some balls finding gaps on the shift. We've also had some plays work out very well.
Feldman now has allowed 8 hits and 4 runs, 3 of them earned. Salvador Perez, the batter. Perez 0 for 2.
But again, it's all about percentages in terms of the Astros and all the other clubs utilizing shifts. The thing that I still always have in mind is the players who have the ability and the will to hit the ball through the wide open side.
That's out to center field. Fowler in. Fowler sliding. The ball gets by him. 1 runner home. And the ball is picked up by Springer deep in center field. A second run coming to the plate. Here's VR's relay and the tag, and Castro gets him. Great throw from VR as Springer had to make that throw from deep center field. It goes from 9 to 6 to 2, but run number 5 came home.
That was a long run for Eric Hosmer. Take a peek at Dexter Fowler in center field. He has the reputation of really being able to go and get it. Couldn't possibly pick that all up, but right under the glove on maybe a catchable ball. And it's a good strong throwing effort there. George Springer showing some right field arm from center.
First outfield assist as a major leaguer from Springer. 9 to 6 to 2. Great job by Castro scooping that one on the short hop. Perez winding up at second after his RBI, his 5th of the year. And that's in for a strike. Nope, apparently not. Ball 1 to Gordon. Gordon's 2 for 2 and has scored 2 runs. 3 hits in the inning by the Royals give them 9 for the night. Curveball works, and it's 1-1. Let's take a look at the hose of George Springer.
Yeah, he gets it back in quickly, and then Jonathan VR, we know he can really throw. You try to set up those relays where you have the strong-armed infielder taking it, and In this case, it is definitely VR.
Ground ball, Feldman. To end the top of the 5th, 1 run scoring on 3 hits with a man left, 5-0 Royals. Good Thursday night crowd. Royals 5, Astros nothing. And James Shields has really been moving quickly through the Astros lineup after giving up that 2-out first inning single to Jose Altuve. 10 straight Astros have been retired by Shields. Chris Carter's the batter. He grounded to third earlier. He looks at ball 1. The Astros batting average on balls in play as a team was .211 through Tuesday. Very, very low. 1-1. So the experts indicate that they're about 108 points below the norm for the team batting average on balls in play. 2 balls and a strike. The reversion to the mean would indicate that we don't know when, but several players are going to start collecting hits here in bunches.
What did we say? 290 to 310 is roughly the mean figure.
That's ball 4. Leadoff walk to Carter. First walk for Shields. And that's the last thing a pitcher wants to do with a 5-0 lead when he's mowing down hitters. Matt Dominguez is next. Matty's 6-game hitting streak ties a career high. He struck out in the 2nd inning. Yeah, so, 15 games into the season for the Astros, 13 games for Kansas City. Small sample size.
Big impact.
So then you might be asking, well, if it's a small sample size, why do guys get sent to the minor leagues this time of year? Well, I think you're seeing players who are really, really struggling, even for a 2-week period.
I think when the team struggles, it exacerbates the issue with individuals.
That's right. Yep.
You've got to be giving every effort you can to winning. And I don't care if you're coming off a 100-loss season. There comes a time when you've got to say, look, this is about winning, and that's all that matters.
And the Astros front office delivered that message to the players in spring training. Line shot into left center field. Carter will head for third base. Dyson into second. Here's the throw, and it's waiting for Dominguez. He runs into out number one. Boy, that hurts. That's a 7-game hitting streak, new career high, but that out really hurts at second base. One down, Carter to third.
That's pretty hitting, and we're seeing more and more of this from Matt. He's got that kind of sting in the bat, and really, you're thrilled when you see him take advantage, but boy, that's running into a problem.
8-4 for out number one. Dyson to Infante on the tag, and he was there early. Now runner at third, one out, and Alex Presley bats. Presley grounded out to second earlier. That's strike one.
My reaction to seeing that play with Matt Dominguez is kind of part of what we've been talking about. Club's struggling. I've got to do something to help them win, make a difference. Maybe we can pick up a couple of runs here in the inning. And you wind up just trying to do too much.
Perez is able to stop that one, 1-1. Yeah, it would have been great to have two men in scoring position with nobody out, but trailing 5-0, that's just too big a risk when the center fielder is over there in good shape to make that throw.
Was it a bad decision? Yes. Did it come from lack of effort? I would say absolutely not.
No. One and two.
There's Matt drilling it again. We'll take that swing over and over. And he's running all the way. That's what Matt has. But already he knows, oh boy, what a mistake I've just made.
Yeah. Presley lines one, left center field. Gordon diving. Gordon rolls over, comes up with it, makes the catch. And Carter tags and comes home. What a tremendous play by Gordon in left center field. For out number two, it turns into a sac fly in a 5-1 game. But he laid out to Rob Presley on a well-hit ball.
3-time Gold Glove winner in left field. And you get a peek at why. I thought he was going to get jammed on this ball that was slicing toward him. I thought it was going to actually miss the glove. But he doesn't miss many balls. See how it came back to the body.
Just a stellar play. Carter waited, tagged, and scored. Sac fly for Presley, his fourth RBI. But now 2 outs in the inning and nobody on for Jonathan Villar. And the Royals are in that situation, leading 5-1. They will exchange a run for an out. Villar grounded out earlier and bunting this time. Here's Shields with a quick throw, and he gets him. 1 run, 1 hit, nobody left through 5. Kansas City 5, Houston 1. a good promotion. And they have turned out in good numbers. The next homestand will be a divisional homestand for the Astros. They welcome Oakland and Washington, followed by Seattle, and it starts the 24th of April. A week from tonight.
Looking at the folks on their cell phones, it made me think, can you order your food at the ballpark from your cell phone?
Yes, you can.
That's a great deal.
Sure is. Billy Butler has a single and a walk. He scored a run tonight. That's strike one.
What is there, a specific app?
I believe so.
We got to get that app up here in the booth.
It's not the one that you use, Ash.
No, I have a feeling it's not.
You only use one, is that correct?
Delivery never shows up on my app.
1 ball, 1 strike for Scott Feldman. 80 pitches into this game. Astros have a new lefty in the bullpen tonight, Raul Valdez, veteran left-hander. 1-2. After the game last night, Kevin Chapman, who walked the only batter he faced to load the bases last night in the 7th inning, Eric Hosmer, was optioned to Oklahoma City. And he was told that he needs to work on command of his pitches.
When you're that lefty and your assignment is to get big left-handed outs in a ball game, and sometimes just one batter, better come in throwing strikes. And I think we talked about it last night. I believe the numbers on Chapman, 3 1/3 innings and 7 walks. Not going to work real well.
To right center field, Springer comes in. More straight away right. 1 out.
This moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. Roberto Clemente. Well, there's one of the names from my youthful days, making his major league debut against the Brooklyn Dodgers. It was the Dodgers who ironically left him unprotected in the Rule 5 draft. I thought it was the Rule 1 draft back then. He went on to win the 1966 National League MVP award, 71 World Series MVP, 3,000 hits in his great career, and of course a Hall of Famer. Great humanitarian.
Mike Moustakas showing bunt. Looks at a strike. Moustakas with an RBI single in the second, 1 for 2. What an arm he had.
Roberto?
Oh.
The stories always go that something was always hurting him. But he'd limp around and hobble from place to place, and then as soon as he had a pitch to hit, he would just drill it and run like the wind.
Made those great throws from right field.
Yep.
Boy, was he athletic. Ground ball, Feldman. 2 outs. Yeah, I think it was Clemente who had a chiropractor treating him all the time. I've heard the story from Steve Blass, who was his teammate. Steve, a Pirates broadcaster, said, well, he had this chiropractor in Pittsburgh, and he visited this chiro all the time and left him tickets to the games. And, you know, to hear Roberto talking about it, it was a miracle he was able to take the field every night.
Yeah, sometimes that can rub teammates wrong, but when a guy plays like Clemente did, I imagine they accepted what went on.
Alcides Escobar takes ball 1. Escobar with a 2-run double to right center in the 4th, and then Steve Blass said Steve was a prankster himself. So one night Steve was not the starting pitcher, and he stole Clemente's uniform from his locker. And Clemente, the team was taking the field, and Clemente was not in uniform. He was looking for his uniform. No right fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates at Forbes Field, because he used to wait until about 5 minutes before game time to put his uniform on. And he looked around and no uniform to be found.
Ooh. You know, sometimes that can be funny, but I don't know about that one.
Well, somehow they made it through and remained friends.
Quality ending.
1-1. Great story about Neil Walker's father too, Tom and Clemente. High drive to center field, Fowler waiting. And of course the inning will end before the story comes your way. In the middle of the 6th inning, it's 5-1 Kansas City.
fans from Jack Yates High School. Head coach Nick Strong and also his assistant coaches with him. Little fan here, and also one of the players from Yates. Nick, nice to see you guys in your high school represented today. What made you come out to the game?
Actually, my son is attending Lockhart Elementary, and they're part of the Astros program, and they're giving out free tickets. So, I made sure that he's at the game tonight, and some of my players and my coaches and my friends back here. And we're all just having a good time at the ballpark.
Comcast had one of the Yates basketball games on our air with the Fondy game, so tell me how the baseball team is doing.
Not as good as that Fondy game, but I think that we're making progression this year. And it's just a building process here in the Yates community, when it comes to baseball. So just a lot of things to come when it comes to Yates baseball.
What do you like about bringing your son and your teammates here to the Astros game?
Camaraderie. It's the Yates way.
Cannot complain. Happy to be a part of it. Nick Strong and the Jack Yates baseball team. Nice to see him out here. Our progressive fans of the game. The little one, too, guys.
Yeah, they're having a great time. Thanks, Layla. There's strike 2 to Dexter Fowler. Shields working him in tight. And it's 1-2. Dexter 0 for 2 in this game. 6 for 12 his first 3 games.
Yeah, sorry, Brownie. I was going to say, I imagine a number of scouts are writing up some reports about the way the Royals have pitched some Astros hitters. Hard in on Jason Castro. A lot of breaking balls in as well. Dexter Fowler seems to be being served up some of that same diet.
Fowler still 2-2. Well, Fowler, since his illness, when he had the gastroenteritis, he has 3 hits in 34 at-bats now. It just seemed to throw his timing off, the fact that he had to sit out of, I think it was 4 games.
You saying it took it right out of him?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, that was a real tough break, not only for Dexter but for the team, where he was carrying such a load that the club was in great shape.
Strikeout number 5 for Shields.
Shields once again comes in with that fastball that starts in and runs back to the corner.
CC Sabathia is on the mound for the Yankees, and they turned a triple play behind him. No, it was last night. Yeah, they had a 5-4-3 triple play last night. Now Springer, and it's ball 1. George is 1 for 2. Springer's minor league batting average on balls in play last year and this year was .382. Very high. 1-1. But a guy with his speed, and we've seen it with these 2 infield hits, will get a higher average on balls in play by beating out some of those little dribblers. Strike makes it 1-2.
Second straight at bat where the dial of James Shields has enabled him to get ahead on Springer with a couple of strikes without the bat being swung. And boy, he has a way of putting guys away in this count.
I was going to ask you earlier when Springer was batting, so if you're a major league pitcher with a really good fastball and you see a scouting report on Springer, excellent fastball hitter, you're not going to pitch to that scouting report from the minor leagues, are you? Aren't you going to make him hit your fastball?
A lot of times you stay with the strength of your pitcher, but if you've got a guy that just beats up fastballs, I don't know if that strength is one you want to stay with.
Strikeout number 6 on a changeup, big cut. Let's take a look at that triple play. Yangervis Solarte, the third baseman, started this one behind Sabathia at Tampa Bay.
Well, that was made to order. That ground ball that takes you toward the bag where you would have planted your foot anyway. You just plant it on the bag and get it started. That comes rather handily.
Now Jason Castro, he's 0 for 2. Tonight it's Red Sox 1, White Sox 1. They're in the top of the 7th inning. And tied again, ball 1. Xander Bogaerts has hit home run number 1 for Boston. Cardinals 8, Nationals nothing, top of the 9th. Washington has 1 hit through 8. And tied again, and it's 2-0. And Shields is not going to let him barrel that ball, is he? With that approach.
I think they'd rather walk Jason Castro than give him that fastball out over the plate.
Everything's in close. 2-1.
So even after falling behind 2-0, they come slider toward the inside edge.
That's Adam Wainwright with the one hitter through 8 for St. Louis at Washington.
If you had to name best starter in the game today, Wainwright would be in the discussion, I would imagine.
Yeah. Kershaw would be there for a lot of people.
Sure.
3-1. Verlander.
David Price and Max Scherzer. The Tigers with a couple of those guys. I think James Shields would get some mention.
He's been so consistent with the innings pitched. Alex Fernandez. Jose Fernandez, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the kind of a bit of an unknown, although he's quickly become quite known.
3-2 now to Jason.
Steven Strasburg make that list?
Not right now. He made a couple of bad mistakes in his last start, and they got whacked. Left some breaking balls over the plate. Outside the left field line, it slices into the seats. Tonight, the Yankees lead the Rays 8-2. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Soriano hit his 4th, McCann his 3rd. Pirates and Brewers are in the last of the 8th. 6-2 Pittsburgh against that 11-4 Milwaukee club.
You know what the Yankees have done as they've started mounting some wins of late? Ivan Nova on the mound is proving to be healthy, as is
Michael Pineda.
Pineda, that's right.
Struck him out looking. He struck out the side to give him 7 through 6 innings, and it's 5-1 Royals.
Buzz is still about him. So he's the topic of the Twitter question. So the question is, how much more excited are you now that Springer has arrived in an Astros uniform? Tweet me at HoChenCSN. I'll be reading the best tweets on TV before the game is done. By the way, don't forget to vote for your player of the game on CSN Houston's in-game live on CSNHouston.com right now. Matt Dominguez is leading. Guys, over to you.
Howard, as we have you now, and since you've been following the Rockets so intensely all season long, what do you see happening in the playoffs with the Rockets?
You know, this year, I think the team is much improved, obviously, with Dwight Howard. I think the team has a lot of potential. I think they're clearly one of the better teams in the West. I think the Thunder is a team that is one to look for, but with Dwight Howard and, you know, if they get healthy, I think you never know what can happen in the playoffs, and I think the Rockies fans have a lot to look forward to.
Anthony Bass is 2 for 2 in saves. He has an ERA of 5.06 for 5 games. He takes over after Scott Feldman goes 6, allowing 9 hits and 5 runs. 4 of them earned, walking 1, fanning 2. And Gerard Dyson's in the box. Dyson's 0 for 2. Strike for Anthony Bass, who got 1 save in Toronto, a 6-4 Astros win, and then another in Texas, a 6-5 10-inning victory. Last 3 times out, he has pitched scoreless baseball after giving up 3 runs in an inning and a third here against the Angels April 6th. Strike makes it 0-2. So with lefty Raul Valdez joining the Astros, his contract selected from Oklahoma City today. That changes the mix out in the Astros pen, but they still have just 1 left-hander. Dyson takes the ball, and it's 1-2. Bo Porter came out and had some words with C.B. Buckner after Buckner called out Castro on strikes to end the 6th inning. And he's not allowed to argue balls and strikes, so Buckner told him to go right back in the dugout. Two to Dyson. Valdez was the winning pitcher last night for Oklahoma City in an 8-6 victory at Colorado Springs. Josh Zeid picked up his 2nd save, and John Singleton hit his 5th home run.
He's been swinging a rather powerful and overall very successful bat.
Roller out to Altuve at 2nd. On to first, 1 out. Jonathan Singleton is hitting .358. 5 homers, 18 runs batted in 13 games. He prefers John Singleton.
Yeah, it's always written Jonathan. I think you probably had the same conversation with him this spring. John's the name.
Okay. Aoki has 2 hits and 2 runs scored tonight. A double and a single. Max Stassi has a career-high 12-game hitting streak for Oklahoma City.
Stassi 0 for 3 through 5 innings tonight.
You're on the Stassi watch.
I stay very close to catchers. How about this Austin Waits, who's been playing in center field, hitting right close to .340?
And the reason he was playing in the beginning was an injury to Adrian Chambers. So he's really capitalizing on that playing time. Slap to shortstop. VR. 2 outs. Yeah, Austin Waits has worked his way up through the Astros system, but he doesn't get the attention of the big names. And yet the way he's hitting right now, he's a heartbeat away from the big leagues.
Don't miss games when unnecessary, because somebody just might step in and do a great job.
Yeah. You could be Wally pipped.
That's an adjective, right?
Well, we use it as one, very liberally speaking. Ball 1 to Infante. It's really not, but it's sports. We bend the rules. Kyle Smith got the win for Lancaster. He went 5 innings, didn't give up a run. The Astros got him in the trade with Kansas City for Justin Maxwell last year. That Lancaster team is 10-4. They blanked High Desert 10-0. Lance McCullers got the save. He went 4 innings, gave up 1 hit, no runs. In that piggyback start arrangement. Infante takes, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Carlos Correa 0 for 1 on the night, hitting .278 after a very quick start to the season. He's tailed off.
He homered last night. That was his 2nd home run. How about Anthony Kemp? He's been on fire for that club.
Leadoff hitter, hitting .351. That'll work.
Bouncer shortstop. VR gets Infante. 1-2-3. 3 ground ball out inning for Anthony Bass. 5-1 Royals in the 7th. Seventh inning stretch time. They got some peanuts, some popcorn, maybe a drink. Meanwhile, our minor league report is brought to you by your local Honda dealers. While they stand, we'll step aside to look at Josh Hader and his nice start for Lancaster and the game we talked about with Kyle Smith at Lancaster Club. Jethawks are taking off in the Cal League, Ash.
It's a loaded bunch. The entire minor league system obviously has been really loading in recent years, but that's the club. You talk to some of the folks who go around and visit these teams, it's the lower end and really kind of at this level where some people think there are a number of major leaguers getting ready to happen.
Advocates of defense there as Jose Altuve tries to provide some offense. He's 1 for 2. Single the first time up. Here's ball 1. Well, there's more and more buzz about Jadeveon Clowney being the first pick in the NFL draft.
Is that your man? You going defense?
I'd be fine with it.
There's something about this Johnny football kid that really grabs my attention.
He's got a lot of moxie, Ash.
He's got moxie. He's got that's an unknown quantity, isn't it?
The punt goes foul. He's got pizzazz.
I guess that's a quality, actually. Moxie would be in.
Well, could it be that the Texans could take Clowney, we'll say, with the first pick, and still get a quarterback with their second pick?
Guys, Clowney was the vote of the man who threw out our first pitch today.
Really?
Oh, yeah. DJ Swearinger, of course, fellow South Carolina guy.
We've got breaking news, Layla. Tell us more.
Well, first of all, how do you not like the name on the back of his jersey, Swag with a triple G?
Oh, yeah.
Secondly, he played baseball until he was 12, so he threatened to throw a changeup. And he's a lefty.
Yeah.
So we've got that going for us. But yeah, of course, Houston Texan himself and wants Jadeveon Clowney as the Texans' first overall pick. He said he thinks he's the best guy available in the draft, and he could be the best player in the next 5 years.
But will he be standing over him in the weight room?
Now, those defensive linemen kind of help out the defensive backs. And by the way, he said he was going to throw a changeup. Based on what I saw,
he did throw a changeup.
He doesn't have a fastball.
He was pretty good in warm-ups, guys. I got to admit.
Line shot, right field line, foul. How do you change up off a changeup?
Yeah, that's not really going to be highly deceptive.
He's too muscle bound, Layla. Tell him to stay out.
That's the trend now.
Yeah, tell him to stay out of the weight room and come back in a year.
Hey, he hasn't had a TJ yet. We'll let him lift the weights.
Apparently, chicks dig the changeup.
Oh, struck him out looking. That is 4 strikeouts in a row and 8 tonight for Shields.
So you're going Clowney, huh?
Why not? The whole question is the work ethic. And Mark Krause. Krause is 0 for 2. How about you?
I don't honestly know enough, but again, there's something about Johnny Manziel that, having watched him the last couple of years at A&M, boy, he is really special. And you hate to give up on the special players, but Clowney appears to be one of those guys as well. I'm not even sure Manziel is the #1 quarterback to be taken out there.
Well, Blake Bortles is #1 on a lot of boards.
Yep.
Strike 1. Krause is 0 for 2. Now, I heard somewhere that Fran Tarkenton thinks Johnny Manziel can be another Fran Tarkenton, which is interesting.
Was that a humility comment or
not sure?
Well, Fran was pretty darn good, and he wasn't big, didn't have a strong arm. Manziel does. According to a lot of counts, he had the strongest throwing arm among the 3 quarterbacks they really took a good look at.
1 and 2. Rockets and Trailblazers Sunday at 8. Are they healthy? That's the thing we heard from Howard Chen. Big question mark. If they are, some people think they could be a huge surprise. Think so? There's strikeout number 9.
I think CB might have missed on that, and I think even on the mound, Mr. Shields thinks that could have been low. Either way, every Thursday home game this season is Dollar Dog Thursday. Fans are noshing Dollar Dogs tonight. Nice word. They'll get another chance on April 24th against the A's. For tickets, call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com.
There's some noshers. Strike to Carter. That pitch was low on Krause, wasn't it?
Certainly was for me.
Carter walked and scored in the 5th. What are we, 50 feet above the playing field? It looked low, though.
That's a good vantage point up here. Yeah, that's got to be low. CB Buckner stands for can't bargain on where you think pitches might be.
That mitt drop.
Yeah, you can't blame Mark Krause for taking that pitch.
1-2. It's 2-2. The Royals starters are 4-3 with a 2.83 ERA. Matt Dominguez on deck. Good group for Kansas City this year. Off the plate, 3-2, and Bruce Chen was initially announced as their starter for this game. Then Ned Yost changed. Chen has a little hip problem, we're told. He'll pitch at home now. And a strikeout, the second straight inning. Shields has struck out the side. That gives him 10 in the game and a 5-1 lead through 7.
Fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast is brought to you by AT&T. Sammy representing, just watching Astros with Dad up in Canada. Kind of feels like Canada. How do you like that, guys?
Love it, love it. Hey, here's a question for you.
Yes.
Layla. Why do they time quarterbacks in the 40-yard dash?
I think with the new offenses you have in the NFL now, why not?
Well,
it's just another way to measure what they can do, especially outside of the pocket. You have Michael Vick to thank for that, don't we?
Yeah, you're right. You're always right about these things. So
I have a question for you coming up, by the way.
All right, as Bass faces Hosmer. Hosmer 1 for 3. What's your question?
So, if I were to ask you, who do you think Anthony Bass resembles as far as his delivery, what would you say?
Let's watch this next pitch before we answer. Don't know. He's pretty conventional. Anybody come to mind, Ash?
Actually, something looked familiar deep in the recesses, but I can't dig it out.
Let's do one more.
Okay. I don't know. Is that Shane Reynolds?
Shane Reynolds, yeah.
Not a bad guess, but I heard it from Bass himself. His delivery was inspired by Tim Lincecum.
Okay.
And if you look at them side by side, you can see.
Well,
give you one more chance to look at it here.
Wait a minute.
Lincecum arches way backward. And I have to refute that notion.
No.
Well, I mean, he told me himself.
That's not right. That's not number one.
He told me himself.
He's wrong.
Yeah, see how Lincecum is going to kind of fall backwards. And the rest, I can see the timing and everything, but that backward arch that Lincecum brings is quite unique.
Yeah.
It's hard to repeat, but Bass said that he liked how Lincecum was able to get such an efficient delivery that was powerful out of his size.
Okay.
So that's where that comes from.
Well, you know what? If he wants to think that, and he's right, he's got 4 ground ball outs from 4 hitters in this game. That works.
Layla, tell him he does a nice Shane Reynolds.
And our West batters do like to keep the ball down.
Yeah. That's a foul, strike 1. But back to this quarterback thing, Layla. When's the last time an NFL quarterback ran 40 yards in a straight line in a game?
Well,
on a
you
bad
could ask
snap
the question.
Or otherwise?
You could ask the question, when's the last time any NFL player ran 40 yards in a straight line unless he was running for a touchdown with nobody within 40 yards of him?
Boots says Colin Kaepernick did it. He might be right. 1-1. Well, just wondering because it doesn't, watching Johnny Manziel, how can you not measure escapability of a quarterback like him?
Escapability? Yeah. How would you? Yeah. I wonder how you could measure that other than watching games.
I don't know what they're doing with that.
This is Shane Reynolds on the hill, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody play quite like Manziel with that escapability you talk about.
Sure.
And then combine a strong arm and seemingly all it takes to make things happen. I'm not sure we're going to convince anybody over with the Texans to change their minds, but
what do you think Fran Tarkenton's time in the 40 was?
I don't think he was that fast. He was elusive. I think he had gel on his uniform.
But we digress. It's 1-2 to Perez.
You think Fran was fast?
No, not at all. He escaped. 2-2. How about the Wonderlic test? You like that?
How'd Fran do on that one?
No idea.
I
think he was born before Wonderlic, wasn't he?
I'd like it's supposedly like just a 12-minute time limit on that.
Okay.
That's what I've heard recently.
That's a good length for a test.
What kind of a little pop quiz could this be to tell you how smart a guy is?
No idea. After now looking, Tim Lincecum has retired 5 in a row in this game.
This is part of the Wonderlic. To read this, follow the Astros with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry 10. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and a whole lot more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Astros.com. How did that fare, Mr. Wonderlic?
Here's a question for you. Who's the only man ever to score a perfect 50 on the Wonderlic test?
Perfect 50. Well, I saw that Colin Kaepernick had a very good score. Who?
You'll never get it.
Former Bengal.
Pat McEnally.
No kidding.
The Bengals, their punter from Harvard. Altuve throws out Gordon. That's 6 straight retired by Bass and Company. 5-1 Royals.
Minute Maid Park this season with Friday night fireworks presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. Enjoy post-game fireworks after every Friday home game this season. Visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS for more info. Guys.
Layla, we know your battery's dying, but I still have more questions for you, so hang in there.
Okay.
And
it can't be about the Rockets.
It's about the Wonderlic test.
I'd fail.
As Matt Dominguez comes up. Career high 7-game hitting streak now for Matt to take to Oakland. He's 1 for 2 tonight. This is pretty good stuff, Layla. There's strike one, and Shields has been something tonight. He's retired 8 in a row. He's struck out 6 in a row.
Ronnie, I just got the first question, that the sample that we had there on the Wonderlic. I got it right. So I think I got a 50.
You're a genius. Okay, Layla. When a rope is selling 20 cents per 2 feet, how many feet can you buy for $30?
20 cents for 2 feet. How many feet can you buy for $30?
That's one of the questions on the Wonderlic test. So I'm trying to. Well, never mind. There's got to be a reason they're putting these questions on there, but it escapes me right now.
So let me lead you to the answer. How many, to get $1 worth, how many feet are you going to get based on what you just said, Brownie?
Well, let's see, 20 cents per 2 feet. So $1 would be 10 feet. And then 30 times 10 would be 300.
There you go.
Okay. Maybe this is not so tough after all.
So it's kind of step-by-step logic to come up with those answers.
Well, is football logical?
I don't know.
I mean, at times.
Yeah. Struck him out. That's 11 strikeouts for James Shields.
7 in a row. This is getting silly, but I tell you what, Shields is painting and he's changing speeds brilliantly.
This is Jim Deshaies like.
Yeah, it is. Tommy Lasorda's going to pinch hit for somebody here real soon.
Alex Presley's the batter. He grounded out and hit a sac fly to left. For the Astros' only run. They've been held to 3 singles by Shields. And that's in tight. And it's strike one. And Shields has mastered that pitch to these left-handed hitters tonight. His strikeout high is 15. October 2nd, 2012 against Baltimore. To shortstop, Escobar. Quick transfer, low throw, safe at first. Hosmer couldn't hold it as it bounced. And Presley reaches. Boy, that was a good effort by Escobar, but an infield single by Presley.
Well, on that Wonderlic, I've seen some of the quarterbacks as we watch Alex Preston really leg this out. This is good hustle. Fine shortstop trying to make the play. Good throw gets him, but a really tough challenge.
Very tough.
But even Peyton Manning didn't score all that high on the Wonderlic test, and I think it's worked out okay for him as a quarterback. So I don't know how valid that is.
Now Jonathan Villar, he's 0 for 2. That hit for Presley snapped an 0 for 19 for him. We have median scores by different professions on the Wonderlic test. The accountants scored 28 as a median score. The highest is systems analyst, 32. Median score. Chemist, 31. Electrical engineer, 30. Baseball broadcaster, -4.
You know, based on those numbers, we have just got to get better, America.
Yeah. We are in an epidemic of failure on Wonderlic tests.
No wonder it's so hard to find a good quarterback.
In the dirt for VR, and it's 2-0. Shields has really stuck with his successful game plan tonight. Years old, 6'4", and a guy who really has command. Off the mitt of Perez, and that will allow Presley to move to second base. And a 3-0 count on VR now. Should be a pass ball, shouldn't it?
Got his glove on it. Shields once again trying to work in, and not sure that Perez was setting up in, so maybe a tough reach right there.
Yeah. Ruled a pass ball. Could have been a wild pitch too, it appeared. He had to move that mitt quite a bit. Upstairs, and VR now takes a walk, so perhaps Shields is tiring. That's the second walk. He's thrown 101 pitches, and the bullpen just started to get loose.
James Shields snapped at that baseball with the bare hand when it came back to him. He is not happy despite having a heck of a night.
Good competitor. Wade Davis is up in the bullpen. In a game like this, Shields, you know, with his background, with 21 complete games, he wants to finish this. Fowler's 0 for 3. Upstairs, ball 1. Wade Davis in the pen. Foul ball. 1-1.
This will be a very good inning for George Springer to come up with a big swing, pick up a few runs, and get right back in this thing. Of course, same story could be said for Dexter Fowler.
And down by 4 with 2 men on. And Fowler moves out of there. And Perez goes out to talk to Shields.
Great guests, hot topics, and no holds barred debate. Kevin Eschenfelder serves it up every single night on Sports Talk Live at 5 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet. Tomorrow night's guests are Seth Payne, J.B. Bickerstaff, and Rice women's hoop star Jessica Custer.
Okay.
He said with a question mark.
Yeah. 1-1 to Fowler, who fouls it. 1-2. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Texans quarterback, who was a 7th-round pick in the 05 NFL draft, finished the Wonderlic test in a record 9 minutes.
I've seen that on him, and I knew he was a very smart guy. And he's been a fair quarterback at times. Obviously, a chance to become the everyday quarterback for the Texans.
Fowler strikes out. That's 12 for Shields. Astros set a major league record for striking out last year. They have had a rough time making contact this season. Now Bo Porter's club with Springer the batter, 1 for 3, hoping for a big hit here to keep things alive and get Castro to the plate.
Great time to have that first big moment.
He is 2 for 8 in his major league career, both hits infield hits. Springer hit a grand slam 2 nights ago in his final game at Oklahoma City.
Patience the last couple of at-bats did not serve George Springer well.
He was sizzling when he was called up, hitting .353 at Oklahoma City. To right field. Aoki over and in. And in the 8th inning, it's no runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. We go to the 9th, 5-1 Royals.
27th as the Astros take on the A's. Come out early to enjoy dog-friendly activities like a pooch parade, vendors expo, and much more. Get Dog Day tickets today by visiting astros.com/dogday. Alan, you going to bring your dog to Dog Day?
I would love to. We would have a great time at the ballpark. I know that.
You did that last year, didn't you?
I wish I could say yes, but he's my little buddy.
Yeah. Anthony Bass has retired 6 in a row since coming in. After Scott Feldman with the first 6. Billy Butler's the batter. Butler DHing is 1 for 2 with a walk and a run score. He is the full-time DH. Big Papi David Ortiz, a full-time DH. Altuve to his right. Throws him out. There aren't too many, though, who only DH anymore. This might be the only 2. Anybody else come to mind, Ash?
Right now, no. David Ortiz has made a very fine career out of it. But Billy Butler's doing the same thing. He's not on as high profile a team, and he's not as high profile a player, but he's been really good.
Moustakas is 1 for 3. An RBI single in the second inning. Infield shifts around. VR up the middle. That's strike 1 for Anthony Bass, who's in his 3rd inning of relief. And the Astros have had several of these 3-inning relief performances this year.
Ground ball machine tonight.
Yeah. It's 1-1. Well, he has 6 ground ball outs out of 7 outs, and the other out was a strikeout. Looking.
Got to put the ball in play.
Anthony's 26. He's from Dearborn, Michigan. Went to Wayne State University. 5th round pick of San Diego in 08.
Looks like he's got a nervous glove going there.
Fastball at 94 is high.
Very impressive on the spring. Earned his way onto this club, and right now he's possibly earning his way toward the back end of the bullpen. May not sound like a good thing, but that would be a very good thing.
There's a liner to right. Springer in, diving. That one was really clocked.
Ask an outfielder what one of the toughest plays is, and he'll tell you a line drive right at him. You can't tell if it's over your head, short, or going to get to you, and that's a very nice reaction to be able to come up with a play where it easily could have gone bad. Now, you hit a ball that sharply at an outfielder, and there are some circuses that can come to town.
Escobar with a 2-run double, fouls at strike 1. He's 1 for 3. And you're not talking about Ringling Brothers.
Barnum and Bailey is the sign that's right outside the ballpark, and it just got covered over once again. That could have gotten ugly.
Moustakas had a vicious swing at that one. That ball really jumped off his bat. Springer has not played a lot of games in right field. He just made the move in spring training this year from center field to right. And there are some different angles, different reads than there are in center. The ball has more spin. It'll slice more than it does on the way to the center fielder. Off the glove of Bass. He just put together 3 perfect innings of relief. Bottom of the 9th coming. 3, 4, 5 hitters for Houston. 5-1 Royals. energizing your world. From downtown Houston, it's the finale of this homestand, and Kansas City is going for a sweep. The Royals lead it 5-1, going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Big game James Shields out of the game after 8 innings of 4-hit 1-run baseball. He walked 2, he fanned 12, he threw 106 pitches. Absolutely marvelous work by the veteran right-hander, shooting for his 101st career win. He turns it over to Wade Davis for the 9th.
Wade Davis, at this point, just 7 in the 3rd innings. Tough to get a lot of reads, but just 3 hits allowed, 5 walks. That would be disappointing. 12 strikeouts tells you this guy has one of those big-time arms that we're getting accustomed but frustrated at seeing coming out of the KC bullpen. 109 whip.
And it is a vaunted Kansas City bullpen. Jason Castro leads it off. He's 0 for 3. 4 Houston hits, all singles, 2 of those infield hits. Castro with a pop to third, a ground out to first, and a strikeout looking. And there's strike 1. The Royals have lost Luke Hochevar, who was a key man in their bullpen. But over the winter, they returned members of a bullpen that was statistically the best in several categories in the American League, including ERA 2.55, opponent's batting average 217, and whip 1.13. And they have other arms who can take up the slack. Davis, one of those. 1 ball, 1 strike. Davis, though, has been a starter more in his career than a relief pitcher. He had 24 starts last year. And he made 29 starts both in 2010 and 2011 for Tampa Bay. Greg Holland, as a backup, is getting loose in the bullpen. He's pitched in the first 2 games of this series. That's a hit through the left side. Castro's 1 for 4.
That's a shift buster.
It's a West Coast showdown in Oakland. The Astros take on one of the American League's best teams. 3 games at 8:30. The game starts at 9, only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now for tomorrow night's pitching matchup, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Jared Cozart goes to the mound, 1-1 for the ERA. And very nice whip at 105. Needs some offense to help him out. Sonny Gray is not a guy that is accustomed to giving up a lot of offense. 2-0, 095 to Ernie. So a couple of youngsters and a couple of very good ones.
Altuve, who's 1 for 3, takes that pitch, and it's ball 1 for Jose. Castro, the base runner. The Astros have Kraus on deck, trying to stir up trouble for Davis. Davis pitched Tuesday night in the 4-2 Royals win here. 1 hitless inning with no walks and 2 strikeouts, getting a hold. It's 1 ball, 1 strike for Wade Davis.
Wade Davis has adopted that same James Shields stretch delivery, how he sets into it. And of course, the 2 were together in Tampa Bay. Watch, is it challenging? Almost like an exercise routine to get into the stretch.
Breaking pitch stays up, and it's 2-1. The Royals have lost 4 games in their opponent's final at bat this year. Holland didn't throw as well last night as he did the night before on back-to-back appearances. Foul back, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Phillies beat the Braves 1-0. Altuve's down on strikes. 1 out. 13th strikeout for Kansas City pitching. It's been a whiff parade for them this series.
Not like we're seeing guys swing through pitches right down the middle, though. Very tough pitches. I thought James Shields was exceptional tonight.
"37 strikeouts in 3 games for the Kansas City pitching staff in this series. Mark Krause is 0 for 3. He's been caught looking twice. Chris Carter's on deck. The Royals pitchers struck out 12 each of the first 2 games in this series. And 13 tonight. That's ball 1. Red Sox and White Sox are in the top of the 9th in Chicago, tied at 1. Adam Wainwright goes to 3-1. Cardinals 8, Washington nothing. A 2-hitter. Now 2-0. Royals trying to get to 500 at 7-7. They were 0-5 on the road prior to the first game of this series. And they'll go back home to play the Twins in a 3-game set. And then back out on the road, they go to Cleveland and Baltimore on their next trip. In for a strike, and it's 2-1. When they came here, they had been swept in Minnesota in a 3-game set. So to get back to 500, that's a good feel for Ned Yost if he can do it. In for a strike, and it's 2-2 to Krause.
That might have been one to jump on, and in fact the pitch out over the plate up a bit that is similar to the one launched to left field by Krause here in the series.
Pirates pummel the Brewers 11-2 in Pittsburgh. Krause puts it in the air, and the stock is coming over into foul territory. 2 outs. Let's see what Howard Chen has for us tonight. Howard?
All right, Brownie. Well, the Twitter question of the night was, how much more excited are you now that George Springer has arrived? And the best tweets came from MFalcon22. He tweets, haven't felt this much excitement since Hunter Pence got called up, and we know how well that turned out. Casey Trouble tweeted, he is the Messiah according to Astros fans. I hope he has a Yasiel Puig type of year. Thank you for tweeting me at Ho-Chen CSN. Brownie, back to you.
Thanks, Howard. 2 outs now, 1 on, and Chris Carter, the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk, scored a run.
Let's limit that to statistically matching up with Puig.
Roller out to shortstop. Escobar going to first, and the Royals sweep the Astros in this 3-game series. And they do it tonight by limiting Houston to 5 singles in the game. Final score, Kansas City 5, Houston 1.